So for this edition of Junk in Your Trunk, I thought I would come to you from a different trunk. This is actually my tack locker behind me that my husband and son built for me a year ago. And right now it is stored in my garage because life did not go the way we expected it to go when they built this monstrosity. And I just think that is such a clear picture of where we find ourselves as equestrians, right? Like we purchase a horse, we adopt a horse, we inherit a horse, we have a dream, we have a plan, we expect it to go in a particular direction. And then nothing goes according to plan. My daughter was saying to me, Mom, you are not the only one. Just take a peruse through social media at fellow horse rider accounts and you will see people are laid up with, lameness in their own bodies, lameness in their horses, unexpected changes, sales of places, right? So the journey that I've been through is pretty common. But how do we pivot is the question. What are we going to do with the new normal that we have? And how are we, as I've mentioned in the previous videos, going to adjust our expectations? So as we deal with the junk in our trunk, one of the things that we have to do when things change, and it's not what we expected, is we have to grieve. Grieving isn't just for a death of a loved one or an animal. Grief is when there is an expectation and that we come face to face with the reality that that expectation is not going to be what we thought it was going to be, and we have to accept a new normal. And in the process of grieving, there are some very basic steps that we can walk through in our own timing. There's more in the grief literature and the grief psychology than just the Kubler-Ross stages of grief. There's another model by a man by the name of Worden, and he uses 4 principles. 1 is to accept the new normal. 2 is to make meaning of the new normal. 3 is to actually go through that grief process. And 4 is this kind of combination of finding out who you are in the middle of what you are going through. And so in this process as riders of having to come to terms with a change in expectations and a change in dreams, we have to grieve what has not become, meaning name it, cry it, journal it, pout about it. But then also, how do we move forward and accept, okay, this is what we're working with right now. What is good about what we're working with right now? What is really challenging about what we're working with right now? How can growth come out of this process together? And then it is, okay, who am I without that dream? I know for many of us, we've had to dream since we were little girls. We were going to grow up and we were going to get a horse and we were going to ride off into the sunset. And instead, we have a horse that we're scared to ride. We have a body that won't do what we used to do. We have a budget, but the budget's been bust a long time ago. And now, how do we move forward? How do we grieve not only a childhood dream, but grieve the reality of what we're living right now when it hasn't gone according to plan? And then the first step is just to really admit it and accept it, as Worden says. It's coming to terms with the fact that this is what it is. And how do we move forward in this place with it being what it is? It's hard. And one of the best ways to move forward is with community. That's one thing I love so much about HorseClass. It's what I love about the Wise Riders community, is that we're not alone in moving forward. And so I would challenge you to take some time to think just through the acceptance process of it is what it is, and what are you going to do with that? And how does this define who you are moving forward? And what is a new way to look at your current situation that puts emphasis on what you can be grateful for, what is working for you, areas that you can grow in as you move forward. I'm Lisa Pulliam, and I'm here with HorseClass and also with Stable Minded, my coaching business where I help women and equestrians improve overall wellness and performance. I look forward to serving you in really practical ways. If you have questions that you would like me to tackle in this Junk in the Trunk series, please feel free to reach out, leave me a message, and I will tackle that in the next episode.